To set up the game, choose one of the 4 adventurers, either by choice or randomly, and place it in the center of the playing area. For your first game, the game highly suggests that you start with the warrior. The others can be set aside for now. They'll come into play later on. Next, line up all of the equipment tiles that relate to the adventurer that you chose and place them beneath him. Shuffle all of the monster cards and place them in a face-down stack nearby. Give each player a player aid card, which is double-sided, one with a white side and one with a red side, and make sure they all place that card in front of them with the white side up. Make sure to establish a location to represent the dungeon. This is where you'll be placing the monsters each round. Set 5 of the 8 success cards into a stack nearby. They will serve their purpose later on. The remaining 3 cards can be put back in the box. They will not be used. Finally, randomly determine the first player, and you are ready to begin. The game plays in a series of rounds. In each round of the game, play is divided into 2 phases, the bidding phase and then the dungeon phase. During the bidding phase, starting with the first player and going clockwise, on your turn, you have 2 options and you must choose one of them. Either to draw a card from the monster deck or to pass. If you pass, you are no longer in the round and you will not play again until the next round. One thing to know is that if the monster deck is ever empty, then you must pass when your turn comes around. If you choose to draw a card, you will draw the top card of the monster deck, look at it without showing it to any of the other players, and then you have 2 options. Either you can add the monster face down to the dungeon. This will be all of the monsters that you must confront if you enter the dungeon. An important thing to note is that you can always count the number of monster cards that are in the dungeon, but you cannot look at the cards. The other thing you can do is to take the monster and place it in front of you face down. If you do this, you also must take away one of the adventurer's equipment tiles. To do that, choose which equipment tile you want to take away and place it on top of the monster. Both the monster and the equipment are considered discarded for the rest of the round. One thing to note is that if you draw a monster but there is no equipment tiles left, then you must add it to the dungeon. Once you've made your choice, your turn is over, and then the next player in clockwise order takes their turn. When the bidding phase ends, the one remaining player who has not passed enters the dungeon phase. The player who did not pass is the only player who enters the dungeon phase. To start the dungeon phase, start by calculating how much total health your adventurer has. Do this by adding up all the health point values of the adventurer's tile, as well as all of the equipment cards that they have remaining. For example, the warrior has a starting health of 3, plus an extra 3 for the knight's shield. With no other equipment granting them health, that means that the warrior has a total starting health of 6. Next, one by one, reveal all of the monsters that have been placed into the dungeon. Each monster has 2 things you need to know. The first is this number in the top left corner. That's the amount of damage that the monster will do to the adventurer if he does not defeat the monster. And then there's the symbol in the top right corner. That is the symbol that matches a specific piece of equipment. Anytime you will draw a monster from the top of the monster deck, look at the symbol in the top right corner, and then look at any remaining equipment that you have to see if you have the symbol that matches the symbol on the monster card. If you have the equipment with the symbol that matches the symbol on the monster card that you drew, simply discard that monster without losing any health. If the monster you drew does not have a symbol that matches one in your equipment, then you will take damage equal to the number listed in the top left corner of the monster. For example, the vampire has 4 in its corner, so it will do 4 damage to the warrior. The warrior has 6 health, and so the warrior will only have 2 health left. Once you have confronted this monster, whether you have defeated it or taken damage from it, that monster is then discarded. Make sure when you discard a monster, you reveal every single one that is discarded. You will continue to do this until there are no more monsters left in the dungeon. If after all the monsters have been confronted and the total amount of health that you've lost is less than the health that you had when you entered the dungeon, you have succeeded. You will take one of these success cards and place it in front of you. If, however, you ended up losing equal to or more than the amount of health that you had when you started, you did not succeed. You will then take your player aid and flip it over to its red side. If you entered the dungeon and did not succeed, and your player aid card was already red, then you are eliminated from the game. If nobody has won the game yet, which I will get to later, then a new round will begin. To prepare for the next round, shuffle all the monsters back into one stack and place it face down in the playing area. Then the player who just went into the dungeon chooses the next adventurer to be the focus of the next expedition into the dungeon. One thing to keep in mind is that all of the players who are playing the game will all share one adventurer. For example, let's say for the next round, the adventurer who went into the dungeon decides they're going to choose the barbarian. All the other adventurers will then be set aside, and then the barbarian will be placed in the center of the playing area along with all of the equipment that the barbarian has. Placing the adventurer in the center and all the equipment below applies no matter what adventurer has been chosen. Once you do that, you are ready to start the new round, starting with the player who just went into the dungeon last time. If that player had been eliminated from the game, then the starting player is the one on that player's left. The game ends immediately when one of two things happen. Either one player becomes the first player to get 2 success cards, or when all but one player has been eliminated from the game. Whoever earns 2 success cards, or is the last player standing, wins the game. And that is everything you'll need to know in order to play Welcome to the Dungeon. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to know my thoughts on Welcome to the Dungeon, or if you want more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more tutorials, reviews, and unboxings. Thank you all as always so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.